So way back at the start, I recommended you avoid playing online for the first few hours, and I stand by that. Like, I think the noise it adds to the game is a bit distracting while you're still learning the basics. But I definitely recommend turning it on once you've got a bit of confidence, as it does add to the vibes of the game in a really cool way. And I definitely wouldn't have found some of the secrets in the game without the helpful messages some players left for me. But at the same time, I have definitely wasted hours of my life trying to break through falsely labelled illusory walls. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of different ways to do multiplayer in Elden Ring. We're just going to talk about a few aspects of it today, basically the ones you'll have access to from close to the start of the game. Once you've got your head around these, you'll be capable of figuring out how the rest works, especially if you remember that you can just read the descriptions of the items in the inventory. First up, we'll talk about messages. So you'll notice these white stone looking things on the floor. These are messages from other players. You can leave messages yourself as long as you've picked up the tarnished wizened finger item from the opening of the game. You can use the shortcuts shown at the bottom of the screen to change the format of the message you want to add. It's a little bit annoying, like the words and the phrases aren't really in any sort of sensible order, but have a look through, you can get quite creative with it. The most useful part of the messages is, if someone rates your message, you get a little health refill, which is super handy. So also try and rate messages other players have left if you think they're funny or good or useful or even cruel. Like, we can all help each other out a little bit in that way. There is a limit on how many messages you can write, and they'll start overwriting each other as you go, so if you have a particularly popular one, make sure to favourite it using the messages screen to keep it safe. Next, summoning help. So to summon help, the first thing you'll need to do is use a thing called a Furl Calling Finger Remedy. These are items you can buy or craft fairly easily. Using one makes it possible for summon signs to appear. So summon signs can appear anywhere, players can put them on the floor a bit like the messages. However, you're much more likely to find them at these little statues which are referred to as summoning pools. Given the age of the game at the time of writing this guide, it can be a bit hit and miss these days. Hopefully with the release of the Tarnished Edition soon, we'll have a bit more of a busy month or two with plenty of players. But yeah, if you're not seeing any signs after using the Furl Calling Remedy, you can use another one to refund them. Anyway, you interact with a summon sign to summon another player. Once in your game, you'll be able to move through the current location together until either you die or you defeat a boss. A lot of people like to emote when first joining a multiplayer session, so be sure to use yours. You can access them through the bottom right section of the main menu. One thing to note is that the bosses get increased health and are harder to stance break when you've summoned help, so that doesn't matter whether it's an NPC or an actual player, and this defense boost increases the more players you've summoned, so bear that in mind. Personally, for me, the sweet spot is a single player summon, but it can be fun getting a big group of 4 together sometimes. There is another downside to summoning help, which is that it opens you up to be invaded by other players. So the more allies you have and the longer you've been exploring together, the higher the chance that a pesky invader will turn up and ruin your day. So try and be prepared for that. Putting your own sign down and offering help can be a good way to earn some runes for leveling and help you learn some of the harder encounters. You can put your sign down anywhere you like using the Tarnished Furled Finger, which will put the sign where you're currently stood. Other players that are close to your level in terms of stats and weapon upgrades will eventually be able to see your sign in their world and interact with it to summon you. A simpler approach is to use the small golden effigy, which will automatically put your summon sign at the summoning pools you've activated throughout the world. You can usually find them near grace sites or boss rooms. Just make sure to actually use the statues so that you see this message that says summoning pool activated. It's easy to forget and run straight past them. You can also find them sometimes in the overworld near tricky locations or field bosses. Whichever way you've chosen, carry on exploring and playing your game as normal. You'll get a notification on the screen when someone summons you to join their world. Once there, your job is to help them beat the next boss they find, and maybe an invader will give you a bit of hassle on the way. This one's a bit of a personal one, but I would ask you to follow the host's leads. Like, don't just run off without them straight to the boss or go off and kill loads of enemies. It might be the very first time that they are exploring this location. Oh, and one final thing I almost forgot about the summoning pools is you can turn them on or off from the map screen. There's a button for map menu, and from there you can select summoning pool list and turn them on and off. Very handy if you're fed up of getting summoned to a particular location over and over. Finally then, we're just going to talk a little bit about passwords and groups. So the online in Elden Ring is mainly geared around matching you with strangers, but you can use a password to match with more specific players. So for example, if you have a group of friends and you want to help each other out through different parts of the game, you can use the multiplayer password, which will limit summoning to only those people using the same password. Bearing in mind though that this only affects summon signs and doesn't affect invasions. The group passwords are interesting. What this means is things like messages, bloodstains, etc. will be prioritised for those sharing the same group passwords. And a lot of the big YouTubers, the wikis and other online communities set up their own group passwords. You can join more than one if you want, and what it means is it just helps the place feel a bit busier, plus you occasionally get this bonus when somebody else in the group defeats one of the main bosses. Everybody involved gets a little rune bonus effect for a short time. It's pretty cool.